Let's take a look at the two plants I have here in the early vegetative stage. Curb Stomper by Prism Labs and American Pie by Grow More Fire. Both of these plants are in 10-gallon living soil fabric pots in reused soil amended with Kiss Organics nutrient pack. Cardboard covers are on top of them to help with moisture retention. They're currently under the T24 LED grow light by AC Infinity. I'm spraying the top of the soil with my Chapin 1-gallon sprayer. I'll place links to all products shown or mentioned in this video down in the video description section below, along with discount codes if I have them. 8 days later and growth is looking good. I'm going to top the Curb Stomper at the 5th node and throw the top under the cardboard cover where it will decompose over time. I'm also going to top the American Pie, but if you look closely, you can see some side branching is already growing out somewhat. So pretty cool to see. That could make training a bit easier in the future depending on how it develops from here. 13 days later and the plants are thriving. CO2 ppm is showing around 770, so a bit elevated. My humidifier ran out, so I'm filling it up with water. This is the AC Infinity CloudForge T3 humidifier. It holds 4.5 liters of water, and I typically need to fill it up once every few days, so not too bad. Shout out to AC Infinity, they are a sponsor of mine and have incredible products. They also hook up my viewers with a discount code. You can use code MrGrowit15 to save a few bucks. The Curb Stomper could go for a lollipopping, so I'm going to do that now. I'm not getting too crazy with it this time around, just cleaning up the bottom quarter or so. Chop and drop method here, so utilizing everything I just trimmed off and putting it under the cover. Back in the day, I used to throw leaves like this away. Ever since I learned that they can be used as a mulch layer and will break down over time and be useful for the microbes and eventually turn into nutrients of the plant, I've been doing that method instead. It's time for feeding, and I'm using Kiss Organics nutrient pack throughout this entire grow. I plan to add in blue mat carrots to help dial in waterings, so I'm digging down to create a nutrient well for the fertilizer like I did in the last episode. 1/4 cup of worm castings on the bottom, then 1 cup of Kiss Organics nutrient pack on top, then cover it with soil, then water it in. American Pie is looking pretty thick. I'm a bit short on time, so I'm just going to bend some of these branches down for now. I did the nutrient well for this plant as well, with the same dosage of worm castings and fertilizer and watering it in. It's the next day and I now have time to do a bit of training. I'm tying the Curb Stomper branches down to help widen the plant a bit. I definitely want to also widen the American Pie as its branches are growing straight up and bunched together quite a bit. I initially bent branches down and then put these half tomato cages or whatever they're called over the plant, but I didn't like how it was, so I removed them and just tied branches down. 5 days later and I added 2 more plants to the tent, Hades Throne by Zaza Genetics and Sweet Cider by Grow More Fire. I showed these 2 plants in the previous episode. They were in my 2x4 grow tent, and I brought over the 2 lights that were in that tent, the XS 1500 Pro LED grow lights. So I have them on the left side of the tent, as you can see here, and all plants look great right now. I actually just changed their light cycle to 12-12 to initiate flowering. 10 days later, and I just added another plant to the flower tent, Runts by Homegrown Cannabis Co. It's in a 5-gallon grow pot just shoved in the middle there. It's a shorter plant, so I have it stacked up on a box for now. We'll see how much it stretches. Maybe it'll grow up the same height as the others and I'll be able to remove it from the box. The tent is now getting pretty tight and the plants are still stretching here in the beginning of flowering. The training on the American Pie came out pretty good with several branches at an even height. Its leaves are up praying towards the light, buds are forming nicely, and its leaves are a healthy green color. The Hades Throne is in the back left corner. I widened her a lot and she's stretching like crazy. Bud development is slower than the others in this tent, which makes me think she's a longer flowering cultivar. After confirming with the breeder, I was right. This plant could flower for 11 or 12 weeks, so I have to keep that in mind as I continue on since she will need 1 additional feeding compared to the other plants, which are 8 and 9 week cultivars. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that I now have the Evo 3 LED grow light on the right side of the tent. I'll use this new light on this side of the tent for the rest of the grow. The Curb Stomper plant is looking very similar to the last time I grew it, stretchy and long internodes. Sweet Cider is looking amazing, probably the best looking out the bunch in my opinion. It has a nice canopy, good bud formation, great stacking. However, it has broken my heart. Unfortunately, taking a closer look at it, I spotted pollen sacs at the nodes. It's a textbook genetic hermaphrodite with both flowers and pollen sacs forming. Hate when this happens. So sad to see on such a beautiful plant, but I'm thankful that I caught this before any of the pollen sacs opened up. And this is one reason why it's so important to frequently inspect your plants. If I had missed this and pollen sacs opened up, pollen would have gotten all over the other plants and seeds would be within their buds. No bueno. Anyways, I took the plant out of the tent, chopped it down, and added a little compost on top of it. I then added some grokashi on top of that, which will help with breakdown. Added some water to moisten things up, then covered it. Over the next several weeks, it will all break down, and eventually I'll plant a new plant in this container. One thing I couldn't talk about in the last episode, but I can talk about it in this episode, is these plants were given Stash Blend on a weekly basis. Stash Blend is a plant additive that a team of us developed a year and a half ago. We tested it for a year, saw some amazing results, and then released it to the public this past summer. It has an NPK ratio of 2:1:5, and also silica, humic acid, beneficial bacteria, and mycorrhizal fungi. You can learn more about it at stashblend.com. Click the subscribe button so you can be notified when the next episode is released. If you want to learn how to reuse your soil grow after grow, click this video right here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.